What's up, RotoGrinders? Happy Sunday. Good afternoon on the East Coast. Good morning on the West Coast. Good noon to the people in the middle. My name is TJ Zawarich. I'll be hosting today, joined by two of the sharpest minds in the industry, as my guy Kevin Roth would say. Andre Alfred, Jersey 26. How you doing?
I am doing pretty good. Feels good to be on the show for the first week of the year. First week of the month, I should say. Sorry. But yes, it's good to be here. I'm excited to talk some baseball and hopefully for y'all to come in second place in this tournament. I've been close. I feel one coming soon. Let's make it happen today.
Yeah, the money started rolling in yesterday. It was a good start to the summer, to July. I don't know if this is the case everywhere, but at least here in Saskatoon, my wife's a teacher, and teachers don't get paid in the summer. And so right now, my RG income is our sole income for the summer, and happened to do really well in my DFS tournaments yesterday. We took down a couple thousand in home run bets yesterday. So helping fund the summer a little bit, make things a little bit easier. We'll get first Spidey bomb at 50 likes, second Spidey bomb at 75 likes, third one at 100. So keep hitting that like button. And we also got some exciting home run bet opportunities coming for you that you can go over and you can place it at the Fanduel Sportsbook, where you can sign up if you're in a legal sports betting state, take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. I like to take things from the other people that usually host and use their taglines when I'm hosting. And so, returning champion, Tasteful Tides. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, TJ. Yeah, definitely. Good calls yesterday on some of those home runs. Looking forward to hearing some Spidey bombs today. Definitely depends on what site you're playing on today. Some big differences between FanDuel and DraftKings because FanDuel has the Coors game on it. So make sure to remember that when you're asking questions because it makes a really big difference today, whether it be cash or GPPs.
Yeah, it's going to be very important to not only mention cash versus GPPs, but also what site you're playing on today, because the fact that Coors Field is on the FanDuel slate, it is not on the DraftKings slate. It's going to be a pretty big deal in this one. When we get to QQs, I'm going to be looking at the Discord live stream chat first. I'll look at the YouTube chat second. Tim, I'll go to you for cash game questions. Dre, I'll go to you for tournament questions. But I think we got to dive right into it because slate locks in 30 minutes, and we got two very different sites to cover here. So first things first, let's start at pitching. I feel like for bats, we might have to differentiate a little bit. But for pitching, we can probably cover both sites pretty similarly at the same time. So I'll throw it to you first, Tim. What are you doing today from a cash game single entry perspective?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It doesn't really matter which site you're playing on, DraftKings or FanDuel, when it comes to pitching. It's very, very similar. You're definitely going to prioritize Spencer Strider. His K rate is just through the roof. His swing and strike rate is just amazing. He is by far the best pitcher on the slate. He's expensive, which he should be. So good pricing by DraftKings at 12.8, but I still think that he is definitely your priority in cash games. And I think you should play him in single entries, but I think there's also some pivots. You could go Kevin Gausman on FanDuel and DraftKings. He would be the pivot, and then Ranger Suarez is probably the most popular kind of value play. If you can't afford to go double barrels in cash games, I'd go Strider Suarez on DraftKings.
Dre, in tournaments today, we got some big name pivots like Garrett Cole, who nobody's really going to be playing today. You loading up on Strider, Gausman, and Suarez, or are you finding some ways to get different?
I definitely do like Strider a lot today. I think he's to me, he's really good. It's hard to get away from him, honestly. So I'm gonna probably be trying to prioritize him a lot. Like I'm playing mainly on DK today, but 12.8 is expensive today. But I think that price is still good for him Like even though he's gotten hit a little bit in the past couple games, he still has come back and still has struck out these guys a lot. I know it has been a little bit of a concern lately with them with that, but I think it's still fine. Gausman definitely is a close second with going against Boston. I don't mind trying to pair them together if you possibly can. But Gausman is definitely my second favorite. Suarez I do like a lot too as well. And I know you mentioned Garrett Cole, but Garrett Cole, I I I'm a Yankee guy. I'm a Yankee fan. In this game, with the way the weather is set up with via Weather Edge, how we have the 80 game sample, how it is in St. Louis right now, with the plus home runs and plus total runs and ERA. Even though the lineup is without Nolan Arenado in it, I still I still know Garrett Cole gets hit hard. So it kind of just makes me want to just kind of, oh, Arenado is in the lineup. Huh, my bad. I didn't show him and play like on my end, but it still makes me kind of not want to go with him a little bit as much and not be a little bit under the field, even though he would give me a little bit of leverage. I think there's enough bats and enough good hitting situations on the slate where you can get different that way. So to me, it's probably go like, I guess, cash game wise pitcher. I will go cash game pitcher wise, but GPP chalk. But go get different with your stacks in these GPPs if that makes sense. Or if I
That's
were
what I'm
to,
doing too. I'm differentiating with my stacks today, and I'm not messing around at pitcher. I'm playing 150 lineups on DraftKings on top of a single entry, and I only got 5 guys in my pool today. Strider, Gaussman, and Suarez are going to be taking up about 160, 170% of my ownership. And then I'm mixing in a little bit of Andrew Heaney just in case he has a big strikeout day. And I'm mixing in a little bit of Rich Hill as well because he's projecting really well in the bat. And who am I to argue with the bat? I'll take some shots there today. And so that's
No Savali for you.
no Savali today for me in my pool. I'm not playing any Cubs either, and so I feel like I could probably add him and I'd be fine. I worry about the lack of strikeout upside. If he was a little bit cheaper, I'd probably be down to play him, but just 15-ish points from as kind of probably a ceiling from a guy at 7.7K. I would just rather I feel like I can get that from Rich Hill cheaper. If he was a little cheaper or he had a bit more strikeout upside, I'd want to take the shot. I even considered Alcantara because he looked better last game as well. It's just Atlanta, and that's my way of getting a little different on the slate is running 150 lineups with a very, very small core of pitchers today, so I can differentiate in my stacks. Let's talk about those stacks.
I just want to say I think you could play Alcantara today. I mean, it's kind of dangerous, but I think you can definitely do it today. I think today's the slate where you can, and I have in my player pool right now. As long as with Heaney and Savali and Rich Hill as the other guys, so I think he is valuable and good pitcher to use today.
Yeah, and those two specifically, Savali and Alcantara, would be the next two I'd add in my pool. Today's stand was just deciding to go a little bit tighter at the pitching position for me. We have reached enough likes for the first Spidey bomb, and we're only 10 away from the second one. And so let's get into it. The first one, it's pretty obvious, but it's just my favorite hitter on the slate. He's only plus 300 to hit a home run. You can find that over at the Fanduel Sportsbook. But this is my favorite DFS play today. We'll get sneakier as the Spidey bombs go. It's Jack Suwinski. I always take notice whenever there's a power hitter who typically bats fourth, fifth, sometimes even sixth for a guy like Suwinski. He's batting leadoff today. That bumps him to the top of my list. He's going to be one of my highest owned bats. And so Jack Suwinski is Spidey bomb number one. Keep hitting that like button because, oh, wow, we already do have the second one. So I'll try and get a little bit more different with this one. We had a plus 680 with Brandon Nimmo hitting yesterday. Today we're going plus 675. You can find 675 at Caesars. You can find plus 600 at FanDuel Sportsbook. And it's Nathaniel Lowe for Texas going up against Houston today. I think he's not going out of the park, and I really like his odds. So Nate Lowe, Spidey bomb number two. Let's talk about stacks because the Atlantas, the Dodgers, very interesting to me today. Philly looks really good. Obviously, FanDuel, you have Coors. But if we're paying up for the Striders, we're paying up for the Gaussmans today. We got to find some way to save salary as well. So Tim, who are some of your favorite offenses on the slate?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to pay up at pitching, like you said, you have to find some really, really cheap bats. The Pirates are going to be the obvious choice because they're really, really popping in optimals. You got guys like Sawinski and batting leadoff, super, super cheap on both sites. I think if you're looking for a pivot value stack away from the Pirates, I think the Royals are really interesting. Guys like Garcia, Melendez, even Sal Perez on Fanduel at 2,800. They're just really, really cheap. Tony Gonsolin is by no means like a horrible pitcher, but he's not great either. So I think the Royals, if you're looking to get away from like the chalkier Pirates, I think the Royals would be my pivot. If you're looking for just straight up raw points, like you're just looking for like the best stack and you're not worried about salary, the Phillies are my favorite stack on the board. It's 85 degrees. The wind's blowing out. Weather edge, it's off the charts in terms of home runs. Huge sample size. Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper. Even like Bryson Stott, I think is an interesting play. So I'm very much all over the Phillies today. They would be my favorite high end stack.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think the Phillies are my top overall one on the board as well. I'm double paying up at pitching for my single entry today, so I'm going with Phillies, but I am trying to get a little bit of with Pittsburgh's, but I am trying to get a little bit of a Philly mini stack in there as well. Dre, who you liking today for tournaments?
It's hard to get away from the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm liking them a lot, so they're like my number one team. I want to get to a lot today. I do want to take some shots to go with a little bit of Toronto as well here, and the Dodgers going against Kansas City. I do. Goodness gracious, these dogs are all fighting. And I do like also this St. Louis New York game. I do like it for the hitting weather standpoint, so I don't mind taking some mini stacks for them as a secondary, but mainly my primary I'm sticking with Philly, Pirates. Gonna have some Toronto in there as well. Texas I like too a bit, and yeah, maybe a little bit of St. Louis on the other side. I mean, St. Louis as a main stack too, just to get to Garrett Cole, since I know he'll be fairly popular, but not as popular as all the other guys.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea of a St. Louis mini stack. Something I'm not quite getting to, but I definitely like it from just a potential upside standpoint. We know Garrett Cole gives up some home runs sometimes, so keep hitting that like button. We are 10 away from Spidey Bomb number 2. And Spidey Bomb number 3, that is. And so let's keep hitting that like button. I'll look to Discord first for QQs, YouTube second. Let's start going position by position here. Starting at catcher, Tim, who do you like today?
Yeah, if you have the money, JT Realmuto would be the guy for me. Chances are in cash games, that's probably not a good idea. You should probably be looking for a punt. I think Gary Sanchez at 3,900 is a very solid play. If you need to go lower than that, Freddie Furman for the Royals is 2,700, and Bo Naylor at 2,600 would be my sub 3K cash game plays.
I like it. Dre, who you liking today, catcher? Oh, you're still muted. Oh, you're yelling at the dogs, but still muted.
Yeah, I'm yelling at the dogs. I don't want to have a moment like Roth did the last time. But I think catcher wise, so obviously like the top catchers like JT Realmuto. I would use him as a one-off today too, just to get a little bit different if you wanted to do that. Most times in this catcher position you want to use it as part of a stack, but that's one guy I would definitely use as a one-off. Sal Perez as well. I do like Gary Sanchez, William Contreras if you want to go against Rich Hill a little bit, who probably will be fairly popular. So I do not mind taking a stance with him as well. You mentioned Freddie Furman. I do like him a lot. Alejandro Kirk is someone I do like today going against Whitlock. Whitlock, I believe he had, if I'm correct, he had a pretty bad game last time we played Miami. So that's his last start. So I think you can get to him again today. So like I said, Toronto I think is a really, really, really sneaky stack today on the board, and I don't mind using Kirk here in the GPP, especially in part of a stack.
Love it. Let's pivot over to the first base position. Tim, who you liking in cash games at first?
Yeah, first base is a little bit weird especially on DraftKings. Definitely guys like Freddie Freeman, if you could get to him. Spencer Steer, I think, is interesting. Josh Naylor. We talked about Atlanta and how amazing they are. Matt Olson now is 6,500. It takes him out of the cash game conversation, but I think Atlanta is going to go pretty low owned today. So we've seen just their ceiling is just tremendous. If you're looking for like just a pure punt on DraftKings, I guess Jose Abreu would be okay. But I think you got to live kind of in that Spencer Steer or Josh Naylor range for cash games on DraftKings.
Love it. Dre, who do you like today at first?
Sorry, I'm trying to keep these dogs under control. Obviously, Freddie Freeman is the top spend on the first base, which I do like a lot. Paul Goldschmidt going against Garrett Cole, someone I do have a lot of interest in today. I also I like your Nate Lowe call that you made earlier for her home run. I think he's a great one-off option as well. I do like Carlos Santana and part of your Pittsburgh stacks. I don't mind taking some shots on Joey Votto, though he's kind of expensive here, but I think he can a lefty matchup. I think he can still hit a home run there. I do also like Jose Abreu going against Andrew Heaney as well today, along with obviously Spencer Steele, Vladimir Guerrero against Whitlock, and yeah.
Love it. Go. Let's pivot.
Alec Baum too. He had a big game yesterday. I think he could have another big game today too as well.
Yeah, and don't forget about sorry, I didn't mention this before, but don't forget about Spencer Torkelson on FanDuel. Mm-hmm. Keep forgetting about that Coors game.
Yeah, Torkelson on FanDuel is probably the best play over on that side, so that's definitely a good mention. Second base today, let's first maybe isn't quite as strong as we're used to having it, but second base has a lot of really good plays today, surprisingly.
Yeah, second base is much stronger than it usually is. I think some of these Reds guys, whether it be McLean or India, would be strong plays in tournaments or in cash. I really like Bryson Stott on DraftKings at 3,700. And then, Jose Altuve, I think, is a pretty strong play. I'm not really sure where Houston's going to come in on this slate. I think people aren't really sure what to do with Heaney a lot of the times. So I'd be interested to see what their ownership's going to be. And then on FanDuel, Ryan McMahon is second base, third base. I think that you should be playing McMahon and Andy Ibanez in cash games on FanDuel. So really, it doesn't really matter because they both have second base, third base eligibility. But Andy Ibanez at 2,900. Oh, and then Zach McKinstry also at second base at 2,800. Really, really strong cash game plays. And then Gleyber Torres is very, very cheap on FanDuel at 2,800. So he would make for a really strong tournament pivot away from these Detroit guys.
Love the Gleyber Torres call. New York is one of my favorite stacks for tournaments today. They're actually my number 2 highest owned team behind the Dodgers. And so love that call. On the note of the Yankees, time for Spidey Bomb number 3. We got 100 likes. Keep smashing that like button up. I might have a fourth one for you if you can get it up to 125. So keep hitting that like button. Spidey Bomb number 3 plus 560 over on FanDuel. It is Harrison Bader on the Yankees today. We got some good weather, and I really like those Yankees righties going up against Montgomery. So I'm in for that Torres call. I love Bader. I love Stanton. I'm upset Donaldson's not in the lineup, but it's okay. Dre, who do you like at second?
Sorry, I have to keep myself muted. But second base, I I actually kind of like some of these. I'm looking right now, reviewing some things. I like some of the Cincinnati Reds guys too. I know we got a different opening pitcher here for them, but Matt McClain and John Indy at the top of the list here. I do not mind them as well. I think the Reds actually are interesting mini stack to go with today, in that game, which is going to be pretty much a bullpen game for them. I do like Lieber Torres, as you mentioned before. Ozzy Albies as well. And I do like Bryson Stotts too as well. Luis Arias, I think he's getting expensive now, but he's always good for a hit by a 5K. Unless you think he's getting like 2 or 3 hits, I would not play him. But like me personally, if I'm running a couple like running 150 lineups, I like using him kind of as a one-off just for the hit purposes because I like to just rack up points. So I think he's a good option today as well. I like Brandon Donovan today going against Garrett Cole a little bit here. Yeah, and that's Nolan Gorman as well going against Garrett Cole. Forgot about that.
Well, that great calls today. We had some people asking about weather in chat, and I see Devin was on it, importing Ross weather report there, so we can keep going position by position here, and then we'll make sure we can get some QQs before lock. Third base, Tim, who do you like today?
Yeah, so Manny Machado on FanDuel is still super, super cheap. If I think San Diego is in a really great spot today. So I think on FanDuel, he is probably your cash game guy. On DraftKings, Miguel Garcia is 3,000 batting leadoff. You're gonna have to get savings somewhere, right? Like like we're gonna be pitching. We're going to be spending a ton of salary on pitching today, so you're going to have to take some punts. Ideally, you want to do them at the top of the lineup. So Garcia is one of my favorite plays on the board. Alec Boehm, I think, is very, very interesting also. A lot of people are going to be attacking the lefties for Phillies, but Trevor Williams is just a horrible pitcher. So I don't mind taking shots at some of these righties also. DJ LeMahieu, who I'm not really a big fan of, but now his price is just getting really, really low. So I think he is a really strong option. Max Muncy is incredibly cheap on FanDuel at 3,400, and I think he makes for a strong play. 5,100 on DraftKings. I think that's fine for large field tournaments in your Dodger stacks.
Yeah, I really love Muncy on both sides today. I'm heavily overweight on the Dodgers. They're my highest owned stack today. Dre, who you liking at third base?
Third base, Manny Machado, someone I do have a lot of interest in. Ellie De La Cruz, I do have interest in him. Alex Bregman as well. I like Miguel Garcia for Kansas City. I think that's a good option today. Nolan Arenado, Alec Baum, if you play first or third base, he's good either way. Austin Riley against Alcantara is another good option today as well. And that's pretty much it that I'm going to be using and focusing on today.
I'm having a tough time getting up to some of these stacks that I think people are asking about in chat, and so I do want to bring that one up. People are asking about Texas a lot in DKGPP. That is one of those teams that I'm trying to get to more as we speak, but I'm not getting to a ton of. I do like them a lot more as a mini stack, I think, than a full stack today for what it's worth. Getting a little Seager, getting a little Nathaniel Lowe, maybe a little Adolis Garcia. I have a lot of 2 to 3 mans of them, but not too many 5 mans. Let's go over to shortstop. Who do you like at short today, Tim?
Monster projection on Fernando Tatis on the bat today. On FanDuel. That's a really big projection. I think he might be the top projected bat on the entire slate. I'm kind of having a hard time getting to him, but I mean that's a big boy projection. So chances are the bat is spitting out Tatis a ton. I have no issue with that. I think he's obviously a great play. I think that I might have to find savings somewhere else, just because it's just tough to get him pitching Strider. So I think another pivot would be Bobby Witt. I've already talked how much I love Philly. I love Trey Turner today. I always love Willie Adames, especially on FanDuel at 3,000. and then Javier Baez at 3,100 and Ezequiel Tovar at 3,000, getting exposure to that Coors game.
It's a very interesting position because, like, as you mentioned, there's a ton of great prices on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, there's some very different tiers. Like, you have Betts and Seager up top, who are great plays. Trey Turner is almost $1,000 cheaper. You can get Willie Adames and Bobby Witt for almost $2,000 cheaper than those guys up top. So it is a very interesting position today, depending on what price tier you want to go at. I got Betts as my highest owned guy, and then my next two after that are full out punts. So it's definitely an interesting position. Who you liking today at short, Trey?
Yeah, short. I do like Trey Turner a lot. He's probably, if I did say, probably my top person I want to go with. Obviously, in the Philly game, Mookie Betts would be second right there, just also based on price. On DK, with Mookie coming at 6.4K because he's been hitting the ball really well. I think at 500 right now for the week. I do also like Xander Bogaerts as well. Bo Bichette, I do like here going against Whitlock as well. I do like how we talked pretty sure a little bit about Anthony Volpe. I'm gonna look into him a little bit, but I might have a little bit of interest in him as a one-off if you think he's gonna hit a home run, TJ, because I trust you a lot.
I don't know if he's gonna hit a home run, but I like him to get at least I like him to get 2 hits today. And he's fast, he's got a little power, he's hitting the ball well lately. I like Volpe for at least 2 hits.
I might be on board with that. I'm gonna dig in real quick for it. Corey Seager I do like as well, and obviously Bobby Witt today at top.
I'm trying to get a new set of builds in, just fine tuning and adjusting right up till lock here. One of the reasons is there's so many great plays in the outfield. It's hard to prioritize. I love Sawinski. I love Schwarber is the top play on the slate. On DraftKings, that's the only place you can play Tatis. Obviously, you got Acuna. Jack Sawinski is a cheap option. Giancarlo Stanton, I love. TJ Friedel, I think, is great today. Harrison Bader, Spidey Bomb, one of my favorite plays. We got an abundance of outfielders today, Tim. It's one of the reasons why I want to keep such a tight pitching pool so I can mix and match all of my favorite outfielders with them. What are you doing today in outfield?
Yeah, Jack Sawinski is definitely your cash game guy, 100%. I think Brandon Marsh is an interesting pivot as part of your Philly stacks. Bottom of the lineup. I think he might end up being a forgotten guy. Definitely not a cash game option, but just as part of a Philly stack. Kyle Schwarber, I agree. He is 100% going to be in my cash game lineup and in my single entry lineup. This is he's just on fire. I cannot believe he's not over 5K on DraftKings yet. That just seems absolutely ridiculous to me. Trying to look and see, getting exposure to this Coors game. Matt Vierling on FanDuel, Andy Ibanez. If you're not playing him in the infield, you should be playing him in the outfield. Kerry Carpenter getting pretty priced up, but I think that he's going to be fairly low owned. And again, getting you good exposure to Coors. Brenton Doyle, I think. MJ Melendez is cheap on both sites. I've already talked about how I like the Royals quite a bit as pivots away from the Pirates. He would be another kind of like value play that I like quite a bit.
Good call. I like all of those plays quite a bit as well. Dre, who you going to today in the outfield? I saw you nodding about Brandon Marsh.
Yeah, Brandon Marsh is one of my salary savers that I picked up today. I think he's a great option today in that ninth spot, in a nice spot. And a lot of people don't like to play back half of the lineup, so I personally do. So I'm going to be getting to a lot of him. I like Jason Hayward a lot too as well. So those are 2 guys I definitely want to get exposure to here today on this slate. I like TJ Friedel as well. You mentioned Bader. I do like him. I like Adolis Garcia going against Houston. Sawinski has obviously Kyle Schwarber. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, looking at this more and more, I don't know how much of Atlanta I'm going to be able to get to. I know they're in a good spot with Alcantara because he hasn't been great this year, but there's so many other teams I think that might honestly perform a little bit better. Alcantara, I don't think is known for giving a huge monster like run total game, so I might be sticking with Philly a lot more. Just thinking about it now out loud. I like James Outman as well here today. I like David Peralta and MJ Melendez. I don't mind taking some. If you want to go against Savali, I don't mind taking some shots with like Cody Bellinger, Ian Happ as well. Those are two guys I do like, or Mike Touchman. Those are like the three guys I think could hit the ball and off of us in the yard. So I like those three guys a lot for tournaments, as one-offs potentially. And if you want to go with Jordan Walker, I like him using him in stacks against Garrett Cole. If you're going with this St. Louis stack, I do like him as well.
Such an abundantly deep position today at the outfield. We got lock in 5 minutes. Make sure you get your lineups in. I just got my new build in, so I am good to go, ready to focus on these QQs for the last 5 minutes before lock. Get me 15 more likes, and I got one more Spidey bomb for you. So keep smashing that like button. I'll get some QQs first. Favorite FanDuel single entry stack. I'm gonna ask both of you guys that one. So Tim, I'll get you first.
I think it's Philly still. They're going to be popular, but I love them.
Dre, how about you?
FanDuel.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say. To me, it's between this. I'm gonna say Toronto. I think Whitlock gets blown up again today. I would say Toronto.
For me, I think it's either Philly or maybe the Padres on FanDuel. And then on DraftKings, I think it's either the Phillies or the Dodgers. Any weather concerns where you are going to have lower than normal or no exposure in GPP? Not really, no. Roth currently on his weather report has nothing worse than yellow. And unless I see some orange, I typically don't make some changes unless I have a pitcher that looks like he's for sure going to get a delay. That Pittsburgh game, Rich Hill looks like there's a possibility, but it's not something I'm going to be worrying about. So not for me today. How many points do you need from a 12.8K pitcher? It really depends on how the rest of your lineup does. If Strider has 25 points today, that might suck if all the expensive stacks go off and all these cheap stacks don't really do anything. But if the Pittsburghs, if Kansas Cities, those stacks end up being one of the higher scoring teams on the slate, realistically, even if you only have 19, 20 points from Strider and or Gaussman, you're still going to be fine because it's going to be about your lineup construction. QQ for all three of you, favorite single entry stack on DK. So we talked about FanDuel. I gave my DK take already. Who do you like on as a stack for DK? Your favorite single entry one, Tim?
Oh, I'm going Phillies. I mean, I have Phillies across the board in cash. I have Phillies on both my single entry teams on both FanDuel and DK. Like that's the team I'm going with today. And then I'm sprinkling in some Pirates and I'm sprinkling in some Royals because I'm obviously pitching Strider. That's where I'm at.
All right, let's rip it through lightning round. 2 minutes to lock. Dre, is it Toronto for you on DraftKings too, or do you got a different team over there?
It's gonna be Toronto as well. I gotta get my lineups in. I need some time.
You're good. I got tournaments, and then I'm throwing cash to Tim. QQ, is Rich Hill viable for FanDuel cash, Tim?
I would say for cash games.
No, I agree with you there. DK Cash, who are the top two pitchers? I think you're choosing between Strider, Gaussman, and Ranger Suarez there.
Yeah, I think you should go Strider, Suarez because I think you need to get some bats. It's very tough to go Gaussman, Strider. So I think it's Strider, Suarez.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And honestly, if you wanted to go Gaussman, Suarez, if you just like your lineup way better, I don't even think that's crazy either. As long as you get two of those three, those guys. DK Cash, who do you like better, Tim? Matt McLean or Jose Altuve?
That's really, really close. They're both great. I guess I'd go McLean.
FanDuel GPP got a great lineup with McMahon, Manny, Schwarber, and Strider, but I need an outfielder 2,200 or under. Would you go Brennan or Burleson? I don't have FanDuel up in front of me here. Maybe if Devin can scroll down on the screen share, I would pick Brennan out of those two between Brennan and Burleson. And we'll see if there's anybody else in the outfield that's $2,200 or less we could go with here. But in the meantime, I would probably go with Brennan. I think Cabrera, Oswaldo Cabrera would be fine. I think Derek Hill would be fine too. So any of those options as a punt, I am totally okay with. Next QQ here. 1 minute to lock. Get those lineups in.
Wow.
Harper Castellanos for a FanDuel GPP. That is me, I guess. So I would actually go if straight up, I would go Harper, but for the salary savings, I think I'd go Castellanos. Who's your favorite third baseman for DK Cash, Tim?
DK Cash. Garcia for the Royals.
Yeah, I think
definitely.
If you can pay, if you can afford it, it's Machado. But if you need to save salary, it's Garcia. And neither of those games have started yet, so you're still good. We've reached lock. We have hit the Discord questions. I'll check YouTube, see if we got any post-lock QQs here. Let's see what we got here. Tim Buell should change his name to Cash Money.
Tim Cash Money Buell.
Do we like Rich Hill and Freddie Freeman, or Suarez and Furman? I'll throw that one to you, Tim. Furman and Suarez, or Rich Hill and Freeman?
If it's Cash, I like the Suarez one.
Yeah, me too, I think. And even in tournaments, I think I like that.
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure about this whole Rich Hill thing. He's projecting well on the bat. He's projecting well in our projections also, and I'm like very, very hesitant to like push people towards that. Makes me
Don't
very
say
nervous.
that now, Tim. I got 100% Rich Hill on my 5 lineups.
Hey man. I mean, good luck to you. I mean, it's not a bad play because you've done that. You're paying up for some really expensive bats. So like you can get away with it for sure. It just makes I don't know. Because that's like I trust these projections and both the bat and lineup HQ kind of like Hill today, and I'm just like I don't know. It makes me a little nervous.
I think it just comes down to it's a 27% K rate for this Milwaukee lineup. It's just
Milwaukee's yeah.
It'd be lefty, but like there's no Christian Yelich, there's no Rowdy Tellez, and so it does downgrade that lineup, I think, just a little bit. Especially when you have like Tapia in there. It's not like it's Yelich in there for a guy who crushes lefties. It's Tapia in there for him. So not the greatest. We've reached lock. Good luck to everyone today. We've gotten, I think, most of the QQs here. YouTube chat looks like they're having some fun. They want Tim to have some fun. They want all of us to have some fun. They're wishing Dre some luck for having 100% Rich Hill. So happy Sunday, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. And good luck in your tournaments. As Dre would say, hope you finish second to me. And on behalf of Dre, Tim, our wonderful producer, Devin, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.